They buffed Zombie Scarlet Witch into being a meta card. What we're going to look at today is the 10 best decks from the very best players at High Infinite and everywhere else with this newly OP card. Zombie Scarlet Witch was a 3-2 with the exact same ability. She's now a 3-4 after the recent OTA. I have to play a card here, Horde 2. It turns out just two basic plays with her, turning her into a 3-8, makes her one of the very best 3-drops in Marvel Snap. You are going to very badly and very seriously want the hunger with her, but there's plenty of decks that don't run any other of the cards you would expect with her. We are going to see very little Zombie Giant Man in this video. We're going to see some Zombie Mr. Fantastic, but he's not super required for a lot of these decks. Zombie Scarlet Witch has become a meta force. Let's look at the top 10 decks. But first, if you don't have Zombie Scarlet Witch and want her for free, all you have to do is sub, like, comment. It is that simple, friends. Sub, like, comment, and you can get a Zombie Scarlet Witch of your own for free. We gave away 2 last week. Check community posts. The announcement should be there for the 2 winners in last week. We're going to give away 2 more this week. It comments on any video is your chance to win this, again, newly extremely powerful card. All right, we're going to kick it off with a deck that is probably not what many of you are expecting. This is our old friend 121 Eggy, a Taiwanese Marvel Snap prodigy, an absolute incredible Marvel Snap player. He has put Zombie Scarlet Witch in a Thanos deck with literally no other cards you would expect. Here, she is very often going to be a 3-8, a 3-10. That's perfectly fine. You are happy to play a 3-10 in your deck. What this does offer, though, is amazing synergy with Strange Supreme. Strange Supreme eating the Horde over and over again will give you a lot of power. Sometimes it's going to miss the Horde. That's fine, too. You, of course, also have Thanos' Stones to eat with Strange Supreme. You, of course, also have anything Merlin transforms to eat with Strange Supreme. There's a ton of power to this list. This is the old Thanos control shell that we thought the nerf to the which stone is it? Space Stone got rid of. It did not. This list is incredibly powerful, or it did for a while, I guess. But this deck is now incredibly powerful. Eggy has a 70% win rate at High Infinite with it. It is absolutely legit. I was a little surprised to see, like, everything in this deck makes perfect sense to me, right? And synergizes. You have cards that disappear thanks to either Strange Supreme or Merlin spells. So you have Hope Summers. So you have Zombie Scarlet Witch. Those cards all synergize perfectly. You have a bunch of 1s, you have 4 2s, and then you have 2 3s, but you still have like 6 1s. So Wiccan makes perfect sense in this list. We're running Cosmic Ghost Rider because if we do get extra energy out of Hope Summers, we want things to do with it. Playing a Stone and a Cosmic Ghost Rider is extremely strong. We're like one of the only decks because of that Hope Summers, because of that extra energy that can support Shang-Chi. And if we want to make Shang-Chi better, if we want to make a lot of the cards like Surge better, we can always lockdraw them to try and get something big. When we don't see Strange Supreme, our Mockingbird is going to be cheap. Everything fits together. Lockdraw is a way to get rid of stones, as a way to hit your Zombie Scarlet Witch, or get a card in that lane. You play a small card, it becomes a big card in that lane, as a way to turn Shang-Chi into something positive. And then being an amazing Merlin target, Lockdraw is a stroke of genius. I think this list is incredible. Zombie Scarlet Witch is important here. This is going to be the single least important list for her that we look at. Straight up. Every other list that she's in, I think she is what makes it meta. I think she helps this list an awful lot, way more than it seems until you actually play it. Thanos has a lot of air, and turning that air into a 4 power in one lane and a 6 power in the other is really, really powerful. I urge you to give this list a shot. I know it's not cheap, but I tell everyone, Marvel Snap is a subscription model. It doesn't look like it, but it is. It is now a $25 subscription if you want to get everything, but you can compete in the meta with just a $10 subscription. If you're buying the season pass every month, you should be most of the way to competing every month, because 3 of the harder to get cards here, Hope, Merlin, and Zombie Scarlet Witch, are in fact season pass cards. At that point, you're just buying whatever everyone sort of tells you is great, right? Like at that, if you're just buying really, really great cards, you had Thanos when he was the best. You probably had Mockingbird. You probably have Surge, Strange, and Wiccan if you've been playing long enough. The cards you might not, well, you should also really have Alliath. Alliath was the best card in the game for a little while. If you've been playing long enough and just buying the season pass, the only card that you're reasonably likely not to have is Cosmic Ghost Rider, and feel free to throw a Legion or a similar card to that in there. This list is very strong. Let's keep going because we have 10 to get through today. Next up, we've got Safety Blades Horde deck. This one is absolutely kicking butt. This one's kind of hilarious. It's a Clea deck, a Penny Parker deck, and a Viv Vision deck, along with Frankie Raynova. Okay, so let's start with how do we buff our Clea and Frankie Ray? Well, we can keep them in hand and Viv Vision until a key turn. That's really, really important. Viv is huge here. Viv with Clea is going to be incredible. You're going to be able to give negative power to whatever lane that Viv is in for 1 cost. Your Penny Parker is also great on Clea. Your Penny Parker is great on the Horde. It's going to give you a movable Zombie Scarlet Witch. It's going to give you a big old Horde that's movable. It's going to have all these extra upside plays. That's not a million ways to buff Frankie Ray. Frankie Ray is probably giving you about a 210, unless you get that penny on her, and then you're going to get a 214, which is insane. But your basic goal here is to get like that Zombie Scarlet Witch out, right? To get that Viv Vision going, to get all that power going. And then on turn 5, you want to play Mysterio and either Zombie Mr. Fantastic or Mysterio Frankie Ray, Mysterio, and then some Hunger and Clea spells, that type of play. And then you want to go off with Mockingbird and Sasquatch at the end of the game. Your Zombie Mr. Fantastic will buff your Horde. Your Viv Vision will hopefully have buffed your Mr. Fantastic. Your Viv Vision will hopefully have buffed your Mysterio. Your Zombie Mr. Fantastic will have buffed your Horde and your Mysterio, and you'll get a cheap Mockingbird and Sasquatch along with a big Frankie Ray. Safety has been crushing with this. He is in the top 20 with this on the Infinite Leaderboard. This is it took us a while. I thought Penny would be great basically right away, and it took a while. Penny is actually and actively great in this deck. I say this with no hyperbole, no sarcasm. Penny Parker is secretly a really, really great Horde card right now. Give it a try if you haven't. Worst case, you need to play Clea, right? You can drop Clea on Agony. You can drop the Penny on her. You can do the same thing with Frankie Ray. Frankie Ray at 6 to turn into a 212. You are perfectly fine. 312, I guess, technically. You are perfectly fine to have. This is an awesome list. It's not the easiest thing to play. Safety lists are never, ever that easy to play, but safety has been a maniac cooking absolute fire for quite a while, and this is right there. Speaking of cooking absolute fire, if you would like all the fire list, please hit that sub. Leave a like, leave a comment. We are fighting that YouTube algorithm at all times, trying to get more people watching these videos, and your help really would do a lot for us. Next up, we got the Derek Shell. The next 3 decks we're going to look at are KM got to first. So we have 7 decks that, unless you're like following everyone everywhere, you probably don't have. And we got 3 that KM featured first. He did a full video on this, which means you have probably seen this list. This one is abusing Joaquin Torres with the Hunger. Joaquin Torres, or Merlin, as the case may be, with the Hunger are extremely, extremely powerful plays. The Hunger becoming a 6-power card is great. There's not a whole ton else to do with Joaquin Torres here. Yes, you can get 2 demons, and then you can turn that demon into a 3-drop. That's fine. The arrow that gets +3, the basic arrow, is pretty good on Joaquin. But like, we're not like going super cook crazy here. We're really just happy to get a giant horde here. I think this is the only zombie giant man deck we have, but this is like our mid-range home for the card. This is like, we're going to sort of try and cheat werewolf. We're going to do a bunch of power with zombie giant man, and we're going to run a few control cards. We're going to run Merlin as a little bit of control piece to move that werewolf, and then we're going to run Cosmic Ghost Rider as an answer card for like Invisible Woman nonsense, for a lot of combo nonsense. There's ongoing stuff everywhere, friends. But this list has a ton of power. Our basic gist here is Werewolf by Night is crazy strong. The Hunger is really, really strong with Werewolf by Night. Zombie Scarlet Witch and Giant Man give you another power engine. This is now one of the best mid-range power engines in the game. So if you want a mid-range power engine, Zombie Scarlet Witch is it. And because of the Hunger, she pairs extremely well with Merlin and Werewolf. That's, again, what this list is saying. I am personally, just for my own sake, partial to running the good old Rocket and Rocket Raccoon in any list like this, but I understand there's not a ton of space. You'd have to cut Nico, and that's obviously dangerous because the only other way you have to get rid of Hood is the Merlin. I still think it might be worth it. Rocket's kind of great here, but this list is incredible. It is one of the best players in the world is playing the winner of Golden Gauntlet 1. Next up, we have the Honifer All-In. There's like 15 versions of this. This deck is trying to take advantage of, you can go extra Zombie Giant Man through Absorbing Man, right? You play Zombie Giant Man to win a lane, right? And then you play Absorbing Man to copy Zombie Giant Man, and then you can Grandmaster that Absorbing Man. Works great, super powerful stuff. You could also throw that Silver Surfer in that lane that you played Zombie Giant Man in. It's a bit of an awkward curve, but it works totally fine when it works. You can bounce your Horde, try and get 2 giant Hordes going thanks to Toxin. You can buff both with Zombie Mr. Fantastic. And of course, I got a weird notifications out of my other room. Sorry, excuse me. And of course, you've got like Hope for extra energy. You've got the Hope Kitty thing. If you don't see Zombie Scarlet Witch, this deck doesn't do a ton. It's still a good list, but it doesn't do a ton. Zombie Giant Man. Shenanigans is the name of the game here. We are trying to do silly, silly things with Zombie Giant Man. If we have Zombie Giant Man and lane looks like one, we can Grandmaster that card and then we can play other stuff in other lanes. We have 1,000 little plays like this that really, really work. Again, we are going to need Zombie Scarlet Witch. We are going to need Zombie Giant Man to really make this list work. But when it works, it puts up, again, a stupid amount of power. This is the combo list. This is the go over the top list. Speaking of combo and go over the top, it is Smiles, our good friend. And if you would like to see me play some games of Marvel Snap with Smiles, I don't know if we're going to be live this morning on Twitch, but it can't hurt to double check my Twitch. I might be live. And even if I'm not, Smiles and I will be hanging out at sorry, you can check out the Snap Academy YouTube at Snap Academy YT and watch me play a bunch of games with Smiles last week. Smiles decided that Invisible Woman First Steps is a great package, but the real power of that package might be Jocasta and Prodigy. If that is so, can we do that with a different mid-range package? Turns out the answer is yes. We can very simply just run a Jocasta Prodigy combo with Omega Sentinel. We can run it with Awesome Andy even and just get 1,000,000 power in side lanes. Herbie makes the lane that the Jocasta Prodigy combo is in nearly unbeatable, while Omega Sentinel wins a bunch of other lanes. If you don't see the Jocasta, feel free to copy that Zombie Scarlet Witch with Prodigy. At that point, every play in that lane, your Hungers and your Kitty Prides and your Nightcrawlers is going to be +4. That's usually enough to make your Zombie Giant Man absolutely stupid in lane winning. This list is kind of gross for literally all the reasons just enumerated. It's got a ton of power. Is it as good as the Invisible Woman one? I personally do not believe so. It is, however, harder to disrupt. It is a more powerful and less interactable version of it. Sorry, a less powerful but less interactable version of the Invisible Woman First Steps deck. And again, Echo with all the ongoing everywhere. This is a list I urge you to give a try. This is very, very teched for the meta, and it's going to do good meta work. I don't love Stardust here. I'm a little bit down on Stardust. By the time you want to stop the Zombie Scarlet Witch, the Stardust is gone. I would run another card in that spot. But outside of that, maybe even Marvel Boy. I don't know. We're running a lot of ones. I don't know what I'd run in that spot. Got to think about it a little more. But either which way, what would I run in that spot? I want one more activate, I think, but I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I don't know. I guess this is a decent danger spot. Maybe danger. Whatever. Either which way. Really, really cool list. Very powerful stuff. One that I'm excited to mess around more with. Hopefully, I'll be streaming with Smiles and we can play this some. If you love the Invisible Woman end of turn deck, give this one a try. I don't think you'll be disappointed. This is where you can find me live streaming with Smiles and my regular other streams at twitch.tv/PulseGlazer. Nope, that's not our season pass question. You can just write whatever you want for the season pass question. Next up, we have got Owl God, our good friend, who you can find owl_snap on Twitter, is one of the better deck builders. If you ever want to know where Silky Smooth came from, Lambie always gets credit, but Owl was winning a bunch of tournaments with it like the month before with variations on it. Lambie optimized it, but it was originally Owl God's list, the original Silky Smooth. Brilliant deck builder, often does completely crazy stuff with death. This one's not so crazy. It's sort of a combo of earlier stuff. We got a few decks here that are like combos of earlier stuff. We've got a Juggernaut and Enchantress deck, right? But we've also got Gwenpool. We've got the Merlin Werewolf thing. Like, this is just doing enough stuff with enough different ways to get points that it's going to be obnoxious to beat. This one was running Nicholas Scratch over Nico, so if you're inclined to run a Nicholas Scratch deck because you have the Clea and the Merlin, you can occasionally hit that Nicholas Scratch. It's probably not worth it, friends. But well, you can fairly often get that Nicholas Scratch to reasonable size. It's probably not worth it, but it is an option you have. Outside of that, this list is just trying to win in the same ways the others were. Werewolf and Zombie Scarlet Witch being a stupid combo, Juggernaut being one of the best cards in the game, and Owl is still seeing all the ongoing, so he's running Enchantress. This is one of my favorite lists, and the video literally because of the Enchantress. Enchantress is insanely strong right now. No one's playing around it. There's so little Cosmo for all these ongoing decks. All right, this is the highest win rate list right now. It is, again, we're comboing off this. We're saying, what if we did that Mockingbird Sasquatch thing that everyone thought of? What if we kept the Frankie Ray? And we just did Gwenpool Juggernaut stuff. Stop being freaking cute with things like Penny Parker. Stop being cute with various cards. Instead, run Gwenpool. Gwenpool hits Mysterio, you're cooking. Gwenpool hits Clea, you're cooking. Gwenpool hits Agony, you're cooking. You get the idea here. And then, of course, in addition to that, you have Juggernaut as this insanely powerful lane winner at the end of the game. You've got these giant zombies, and then you've got Juggernaut and Mock Murder Sasquatch, and that should usually win the game. This is, again, the single highest win rate at both top 50% and top 10% infinite of all of the zombie lists right now, and thus it is one that you should strongly consider looking at, strongly consider playing. We have another one that's we have a couple that are nearly as high win rates. Let's get to them. There's three that are like a step above in terms of stats. The next one is actually not this one. This one's really good, though. We've got two Ika lists to look at. You can find Ika at Ika_MTS on Twitch. You can find Toxic Sulking on his Twitch. This one's running an Annihilus package. Annihilus is insanely good with Merlin. That's the entire logic here. Outside of that, we've seen most of the stuff in this list. Annihilus plus Merlin is great because Sentry gives you a 4 -9, right? That 4 -9, turning it into a 5-drop is great. Shoving it in your deck for extra energy is great. Merlin is an extra way outside of Annihilus to handle that Sentry, thus it is incredibly powerful. We've known since 2 Januaries ago. God, I think it was 2 Januaries ago. That Werewolf Annihilus is an insane package. Those two were in the top deck in the game well before Merlin was ever a glimmer in anyone's eye. So we've got that as a points package too. And then of course our final bit of our points package here is Zombie Scarlet Witch. This one feels like the perfect home. By the way, when Zombie Sentry comes out, I'm going to be featuring this again when Zombie Sentry comes out because that 3/4 that gets a plus horde for every card in your right lane. That seems real good with regular Sentry to me, and real good with like a werewolf and other shenanigans. The hunger and Merlin's werewolf synergy is key here, right? Like while everything else should be fairly obvious, right? Hood, Sentry, and Annihilus are a package. Merlin goes with those. Merlin goes with werewolf. Merlin goes with Zombie Scarlet Witch. Hunger goes with Zombie Scarlet Witch. Everything here absolutely sings together. If you are turning cards into other cards with Merlin, that Zombie Fantastic's going to get some value, as are Kate's Arrows, as are the Demons. Everything here sings together. I love this list. This is another one that I'm super hyped to play more of. But Ika created two lists, and this second one has a way higher win rate. This is a meta list right now, one that you're going to want to know and pay attention to. Instead of doing other shenanigans, right? We're just sort of running a Killmonger Moira for shits and giggles, right? Like we would just happily take an extra hunger. We'll happily take an extra hood. We'll happily like get extra copies of Victoria Hand or Zombie Mr. Fantastic or whatever. We'll happily take an extra Zombie Scarlet Witch. All these cards are really, really strong in combination, and this list takes advantage of that. Lady Deathstrike is insanely good right now. There's a lot of powerful 3-drops. So think Jocasta, Invisible Woman for Steps. Misery gives us our Hood package. Like this is the standard Victoria Hand package, right? We've got Hood, Misery, Victoria Hand, Frigga as this little package for Victoria Hand, and then we've got Moira as our extra copy of Victoria Hand instead of the Moon Girl or Bastion thing. And then Zombie Mr. Fantastic can buff all the same cards Victoria Hand can for this list, except it also buffs the Horde, obviously, while Zombie Scarlet Witch and the Hunger work together, while Killmonger works to clear out a Zombie Scarlet Witch lane, as can Lady Deathstrike. All really, really good stuff. Works to make a cheap death. This deck sings together. It is the third highest win rate of the Zombie Scarlet Witch decks, and one that, again, you should very, very much try. Our last deck of the day is the second highest win rate, but I think it's the hardest to beat because it runs Cosmo and Iron Man. If you want to go over the top, you can do 1,000 different combo things like those earlier lists, or you can run Cosmo and say no to all the on reveals, and run Iron Man to say, I'm going to double the power of my horde. Thank you. Good luck beating that. That's basically the power of this list, right? Like, Agony is very an extra card here. It's just saying I'm not going to be vulnerable to Killmonger. It's a card I can play on Zombie Scarlet Witch, then play another card on it and get an extra card there. I can play my Zombie Scarlet Witch on Madam Web and either move stuff out of there or put stuff on there. I can move around my Cosmo, which is incredibly strong. And of course, I have extra energy with Hope. Make a big horde. Double it with Iron Man. Use your combo stuff or your Zombie Giant Man to win the game. I think this list is really cool. Iron Man and Cosmo are just an incredibly, incredibly powerful combo here. You saw all the counter cards, right? You saw all the Cosmic Ghost Rider, all the Enchantress. This is the only one that runs Cosmo. This is the only one that runs Madam Web. It is really strong and really frustrating for opponents. Give this one some go. Do yourself a favor and don't play Zombie Mr. Fantastic on Cosmo. And outside of that, you'll probably be fine with this list. It is very, very good and really interesting. Props to Zenade for putting Cosmo in everything still, and really, really frustrating people and stealing games. This is, again, the second highest win rate. The first highest win rate was that one that we credited to Toxic Soul King. I don't know if he actually made it. I couldn't get Toxie before I recorded, but I found it on his profile and found it as the highest win rate. It might be an older safety version. I'm not 100% sure, whatever. But we've got that version that we're crediting to Toxie. We've got Zenade, Zenade TFT. And then, of course, we have that Echolus as the 3 highest win rate. We've got a ton of versions of this deck for you to try. I think this is an easy must buy, especially, and a reminder, buy it on the web shop and you can get it. Excuse me. Buy it on the website and you get a free Series 5 pack. This is the season pass is always must buy for the value, but now it's just like through the roof. All right. Before we end this video, certain tier support on our Patreon come with honor. Thanks. I gotta say thank you to a whole bunch of our friends. Thank you to Jonesy Snap 22, Abigail Keeson, Mandatory Burnout, Always Kind, LAB, Ink, the Graphite Fan, I am Frostman, you are, Iron Cloak, welcome aboard, Hota Nevedete, Prime Ryan of the Prime Mind app, Ryan Burke, Ryanwood Snap, Renwrench, Group Math, I don't know if that's okay to call you that, let me know. Go for Kev, Kirtix Lee, Koirei, Kazushi, Archangel 3K, Black Dahlia, Pyro, The Goat Seeker, Code, Hollowed Synth, oh man, we got Colt and Code. Cool. Fat Nick, Absolute Shannon, Dirtay, Casual, Dark Moogle, Mr. Vubble, Cables, Ginger Prime, Philly, Haplo, Kenny Loggins of the Danger Zone, The Beza, Black Jeeves 23, XRC, and the Skippy G. Jessica Gamble, Slush Death, The King of Bros, Brooke, The Great Kazoo, Werewolf, Kevsey Hoda, Colt. Welcome, Colt. Thank you for joining. Clam, Colonel Forbin, David G. Wingfield, Steven, Brian Coffin, Tristan H. Martin, Jason Butt, Matt Butt, William Nichols. Hey, Billy Nix, thanks for joining. Ray Sean Smith, Charles Chucky, Washington, Real Name Town ends and Cute Town begins with Corin, Junkie, and Jim McHugh. You stout 8th, Sage, One Big Man, Cactus, Steve O, Yo Margo, Deborah, Gribber Joe, Snap Decisions, Joe, Pickety Boom Bop, Bricks to Click, Ocularis Green, Goblin, Flam 56, Spectrum X, Ooh, Only Fox, Matt H, DJ, Mike Hajix, Don't Frickin' Flex, Nick, the Greek Geek, Toxic Soul King, Sajak 74, The King of Canada, JJ, King Emissary, baby. Deadman Falcon, Falthor, Newman Two Ties, the Great Laura Devs, who's now running Snap Decks on Twitter, the Pirate King Tucker, who's now running My Heart, and of course Gunny T, where the T stands for Snap Judgments. Who else gave you 10 decks for the season pass card when they buffed it? Nobody. Play them, live them, love them. These are the best. See you tomorrow for more Snap Take. Special thing tomorrow. Stay tuned. Peace.